Good day, everyone. So today we're going to have our second lesson in EAPP. And before that, let me ask you a question first. Have you ever encountered advertisements that has or that have impossible claims, just like telling you that by just using the product you will be as flawless as Marian Rivera? Or have you ever encountered the advertisement who are telling you that just by washing your face with this product or with that product, it will make you as handsome as James Reid? So I know that you have encountered a lot of advertisements just like that. Those advertisements, commercials, or even statements that has impossible claims. Those are several errors in reasoning or argument. But actually, class, it's not just limited with the advertisements, but even all around us, and specifically in academic writing or in academic texts. Now, class, um, before that, we will not be able to identify those errors if we are not going to read in a deeper way or if we're not going deeper into the texts. So, how do you read academic texts? And that is what we're going to discuss today because our lesson for today is about the academic or reading academic texts. Now, class, according to Fisher and Frey during 2008, students of the 21st century must be able to locate, understand, evaluate, and use written information in their personal lives or academic lives. Now, class, I know that all of you are aware that you are not able to apply anything that you do not understand. So definitely, when you are reading an academic text, of course, you need to really be able to understand what it really says. Now, class, um, this reading academic texts are divided into four subtopics. That is the reading versus critical reading, logical fallacies. We also have review or the additional basic structures of academic texts and identifying thesis statement. Now, class, let's proceed first with reading. When we say reading, according to Lapp and Flood, as they define it in 1978, there are two definition of reading. So the first one, reading is a decoding process, the breaking down of written codes. So I know all of you has the subject OCC or the oral communication in context, and there are elements of communication, and one element is decode or to decode, and that is a process. So when we say decoding process, you are receiving, okay, you are receiving the information from a specific speaker or from a specific person who wanted to communicate to you. Okay? And that's the first definition, just decoding process. And then the second one, reading is seen as a comprehension process. So class, when we say reading, aside from you are just receiving or merely receiving the information or the written information that you have, when we say comprehension process or comprehensive process, it involves your understanding. It involves your deeper understanding into what the text is really telling you as a reader. Now, class, there there are differences, or there is a big difference between reading the text and critically reading the text, because this table shows us the differences of the two. So there are categories or areas in which we could compare the two of them. First, we have the purpose. They have different activity too. They have different focus, questions, direction, and even response. So let's proceed first with the purpose. So, when you are reading, you're just trying to get the basic grasp of the text. When we say basic grasp, it's like that you're getting the gist of what the text is all about. While when you are doing critical reading, you can form judgments about how the text works. So, for example, you are just reading You're just reading a signboard, okay? So if you're just reading the signboard, then definitely you will just say that, that signboard says or tells us that you should not cross the road and you should use the overpass. So it's just an example. So it's just merely reading. But when you are critically reading that specific signboard or information, maybe you could go beyond what you have understood or what you have received. Maybe you could think that, why do they put this signboard here? Or maybe, why is it written in all caps? Is that a warning, or is that just a piece of advice? You can form judgment when you are critically reading. So maybe you could also think like, maybe this area or this part of road is very what they call this, very dangerous to cross. Okay, that's why they put that signboard there. Or maybe someone had already an accident there, so we don't know. But in other words, when you are critically reading, you are going beyond what you have received. So you are forming judgments how this text works, or what the text does, and what it means. So um, the other categories there are almost the same. So just like the focus, what does the text says? When you are reading, you're just trying to look what does the text says. While when you are critically reading, what the text does and what it means. So when you are reading, you are also observing or just understanding the text. While when you are critically reading or doing the critical reading, you are also analyzing, you are also interpreting, and you are also evaluating the text. So the question is just the same. What does the text says, and how does the text work when we are referring to critical reading? Your question will be, what does the text mean, or what does the text wants us to do or to believe? Maybe. Next one, with when it comes to direction, when you are just merely reading the text, you are going with the text because you want to be with the text. You want to understand the text itself. But when you are critically reading, you go against the text. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to criticize all or everything that you are reading, but it only means that you are wisely reading it. You are not the kind of reader who will just believe everything he or she reads, because class, not everything that we are reading are true or correct, or some of them are, let's say, fake news, and some of them are lies, some of them are invalid. But we are not able to know those things if we are not criticizing, or we are not forming judgment, or if we are not critically reading it. So we go against the text because we are chunking or breaking down the ideas to prove if it is really right, or what is the sense of that, or how it works. Now, class, when you are reading, you are able to restate or form restatement, or even form a summary. But when you are critically reading something, or specifically a text, you are able to describe it, or to form description, interpretation, as well as evaluation. So those are the differences of reading and critical reading. Okay, I hope that it's clear to you. Now, in other words, when we say critical reading, it is a more active way of reading. It is a deeper and more complex engagement with the text. Now, class, let us proceed with the logical fallacies. When we say logical fallacies, those are the errors or mistakes in reasoning that invalidate an argument. Okay, so because of that, those errors, it makes someone's reasoning, or it makes someone's argument not valid, or not correct, or not acceptable. So there are two types of fallacies. The first type is the formal fallacies. So from the word itself, form, there's just something wrong with the form, maybe the order or the sequence of the reasonings, or how the reasonings or arguments are being arranged. So that's formal fallacies. But the worst one is the informal fallacies. Because when we say informal fallacies, there is really something wrong with the content itself or with the reasoning itself. Okay? And today, I will give you 7 common logical fallacies. I have already sent to you uh, the link of the video that was created by Miss Jade. So Miss Jade is an EAPP teacher too in UCC, and she created a video content that explains those 7 common logical fallacies. So I would recommend that you would also watch it for you to have an additional information, or in order for you to be able to understand this topic well or better. Now, class, actually, there are maybe more than 100, I think 145 logical fallacies in academic writing or in text or in the world of writing. But, class, we don't want to we don't want to give you headaches for you to study and memorize those logical fallacies. So we are just sorry we just chose 7 common logical fallacies to discuss with you. And those are slippery slope, appeal to force, appeal to pity, bandwagon, personal attack, hasty generalization, and post hoc. Now, class, let's proceed with slippery slope. From the word self, slippery. So when we say slope, it is a kind of path that has a going down or diagonal form. Okay. So when we say slippery slope, this is a kind of logical fallacy that suggests taking a minor action will lead to major or sometimes ludicrous consequences or results. So, for example, the example that I've given you. So never it says that never sing in the shower. So his claim or her claim is you should not sing in the shower. So why? Because she said or he said singing leads to dancing, dancing leads to sleeping, and sleeping leads to paramedics seeing you naked. So remember, don't sing in the shower. So that is an example of slippery slope. So it suggests that or it thinks that just by doing a simple thing or a minor action, it will lead you to what do you call this? Succeeding results, or maybe ludicrous consequences, or major consequences, or major differences. Okay. Another example, class, if you have encountered this, because I have encountered this a long, long time ago. So there is a boy who is trying to get the number of the girl, or maybe his crush, the girl, okay? And then the girl said that, why would I give my number to you? I know that after this you're just going to text me, and then you're just maybe I could also like you back, and then maybe you will admit your feelings. You will yes, you will tell your feelings for me, and then you will court me, and then I will um what do you call this? Then we will be together. Then we will be in love, and then we will something will happen with us, and then I will be pregnant, and then you will cheat with me, then I will be just hurt, then you will leave me. So because of that, I'm not going to give my number. So that is an example of slippery slope, and that is a logical fallacy, class, because that kind of reasoning is invalid, because not it is not applicable all the time. So for example, not all not just by giving your number will make you what do you call this, will make you pregnant and so on, and become broken someday. Or maybe I don't know if it is applicable with everyone, but definitely that's a slippery slope. Another example, class, is I don't know what advertisement is that. Maybe um, maybe it was the gum. and then uh, the girl or the boy just gave the. Another example is the boy gave a gum. I don't know what gum is that, to a girl or to his crush, and then after giving that gum, it was an advertisement. After just giving that gum, uh, the girl noticed that boy, and then uh, maybe the girl likes him back, and then they became together, and then at the end of that advertisement, the boy proposed to that girl. So it's just like saying us that by just giving a gum, you will find your forever. Okay, so that's a slippery slope because it suggests that uh, just by that simple action, it will lead you to major consequences or bigger or biggest result. Okay, so that's a slippery slope, and that is a logical fallacy because it's not valid. Okay, next, the second one is the appeal to force. So from the word itself, force, okay, force is used in place of a reason in attempt to justify a conclusion. So when we say appeal to force, it is using a force or a threat to make someone believe you or to make someone do what you want him to do. So, just like the example that I have given you, the prosecution's argument was difficult to counter. So, just because it is hard for that lawyer or whoever he is, it is hard for him to defeat their opponent or, yes, in the trial. So, he uses a gun, okay? And that's appeal to force. That's a threat. That's violence, too. Now, another example is let's say in your online classes, your classmate asks you to copy your answer or to cheat on your exam or in your quiz, and then you said you refused your classmate, okay? And then what your classmate did is he or she give a threat. So maybe he or she said that, okay, then I will upload or I will post all of your pictures in our group chats or maybe in your Facebook, in your timeline, and everybody will see all of your pictures that are not good to see. So that is a threat. So that's also appeal to force because she or he is already blackmailing you in order for you to do what he wants or what she wants you to do. Okay, so that's appeal to force, and that is a logical fallacy because that is an invalid reason or way of invalid way of winning your argument. Okay, next, we also have appeal to pity. Okay, so when we say appeal to pity, it manipulates someone's feelings of pity or guilt in order to get them to support a point of view. So just like the example I gave you, it says there that how can you convict this man of murder? He's an old man. So definitely, the lawyer is trying to manipulate the judge or the audiences or maybe our feelings or feelings of pity towards that old man in order to prove or to convince us that that old man is innocent. Okay, and that's appeal to pity. Another example of appeal to pity is that the fast foods advertisement, the Jollibee. So actually, I really love Jollibee, but if we're going to uh, notice their advertisements, most of their advertisements has this appeal to pity fallacy because they are manipulating our feelings of pity or guilt in order for us to also wanted to go to that fast food chain. For example, we could see that their family are gathered together in Jollibee or they're treating their parents there in Jollibee. So it manipulates our feelings that we could also feel that, oh, I also wanted to treat my family in Jollibee. I also wanted to be with them there. So that is, in that way, your feelings are already manipulated. Okay? And that is also a logical fallacy. So appeal to pity. Next, bandwagon. Okay, so when we say bandwagon, it argues that one must accept or reject an argument because of everyone else who accepts it or rejects it. In other words, it is also similar to peer pressure. So it's like the majority wins principle. So in the example I gave you, there is a man standing at the bus stop. Okay, but since everyone or most of the people are standing on the wrong side, then definitely if you were on that place, you would also join those who are those people who are manier. Okay, and in real life, there is really a bandwagon. So for example, you know that there is an overpass, okay, but since you are seeing everyone else not using the overpass, instead they are just crossing the road, and many people are doing that. Because of that, you are also going to do what everyone is doing, and that is just to cross the road and not to use the overpass. So that is also a bandwagon fallacy. Okay, another example of bandwagon are the advertisements that says 9 out of 10 9 out of 10 Filipina are already using this product. So that's also a bandwagon because it tells us, or it manipulates us, that just because everyone is doing this, or just because everyone is using this, you should also use this. That's bandwagon. And that is a logical fallacy too, class, because uh not ju- not just because everyone is using that, you should also use that, because that product might not be good for you, or that product might be expensive for you, or that product might not be the one that you really need. So that is an example of bandwagon. Okay, next. This one is a personal attack. So when we say personal attack, it occurs when someone tries to refute an argument by attacking the character of a person instead of attacking the ideas of the argument. So just like the example there, so just imagine they are uh, doing the campaign, or they are the candidates for president or for presidency. Okay, so the first character there said that, can we let a shrimp like this run a great country? So it's like he is belittling that shrimp, and that is a personal attack. And another example of personal attack, class, is what is what is happening with the flip top battles. So I know most of you, or maybe a lot of you, are already familiar with flip top battles, and most no no all that maybe all the time they are using this personal attack with each other. So you can see there are a lot of rappers who are attacking their opponents personally, even their personal lives, their characteristics, or maybe their girlfriends or their family or even their children. They are attacking every character's personal lives, or sorry, they are attacking the personal lives of their opponents, or the character of their opponents, and that is a personal attack. So instead that you are focusing on the argument and what you are fighting for, what you did is you just tried to what do you call this, look for the wrong side or the negative side of your opponent. Okay, and that's personal attack. Okay, next we have the hasty generalization. So it is an argument that is based on mistaken reasoning, or a belief to a larger population than he should base on the information that he has. Take a look at this example. Where I am from, everyone's a hero. So we all know that the flag there, or the color of the flag there in the word hero, is here in the Philippines. So it only says there that every Filipino is a hero. But I think that is that is a hasty generalization, because we all know that not every one of us is a hero, right? So when we say hasty generalization, you are generalizing a specific population for a certain characteristic. So another example for that, this will be for the girls. So just imagine, or this is just an example, that, for example, the girl uh, has a boyfriend, and then her boyfriend cheated on her. And because of that experience, that girl concluded or has this generalization that all every other men are just the same. Now, class, it is not right to generalize that every man are also cheater or just the same just because of her experience with her boyfriend or with her ex. So that is an example of his generalization. You cannot generalize a specific population or a larger population uh just because of what you have experienced in with one person who belong with that population. Another example for that is the current issue between the Filipinos and the Koreans, the cancel Korea. So sometimes not just in the part of the Korean, but even us Filipinos has this hasty generalization there, because we are arguing that all Koreans are just the same, or maybe the Koreans are arguing that all Filipinos are short, whatever it is. So there is a stereotyping, and that is a hasty generalization because you are what they call this, generalizing that specific population even if you haven't encountered each one of them. Okay, so that's invalid, and that's a fallacy. Now let's proceed with post hoc. This is the last logical fallacy. When we say post hoc, it is a fallacy where one reasons that since an event occurred before another, then the first event caused the other. So there is, for example, there is an event A and event B. So it only says that just because event A happened, it causes the event B to also happen. So that's a false, or that's a wrong fallacy, or that is a wrong argument, and that is a fallacy. So, for example, in that comic that I gave you, the first guy says there that everybody who went to the moon has eaten chicken. And then the other guy concluded that, good grief, so therefore chicken makes you go to the moon. And that is a post hoc because he is concluding that just by eating a chicken, you can now go to moon. Okay? And that is wrong. Another example for that is, for example, uh, I did this action. So I snap my finger just like this. And then, for example, it turns out that the light went off. Maybe for an instance, maybe it was brown out or whatever. But when I snap my finger, the lights went off. And then from that event, I concluded that I have a power. Or maybe just because of my snap, the lights went off. And that is a post hoc because there might be another reason why the lights went off. There might be a electric shortage, or maybe your lamp is already uh, what do you call this? It's already not working, or maybe someone has click or turn off the lights, or maybe someone is ghosting you. We don't know. So definitely it's not, when we say post hoc, you are saying that the other thing causes, or the first event causes the second event, and that is not right, or that is a logical fallacy because it is not applicable all the time. Okay. um let's uh Let's think for another example. So another example, or examples for that post hoc fallacy, are the advertisements who are promising you, or who are claiming that by just using this product, or just by applying this cream, you will have lesser or fewer wrinkles in a minute. And that is a posthoc because it tells us that by this event or this what do you call this action, or this, yes, just by using this product, then later on, or maybe a minute, there will be a change, or there is, what, there will be a sudden change in your face or in your skin. So just like the example or the question that I've asked you earlier, so those products who are saying that just by washing your face with that kind of product you will be as handsome as James Reed, that's a post-hoc. Or maybe just by spraying a perfume, just by spraying that, it will make the girls follow you. So that's also a post-hoc. Okay, now let's proceed with the basic structures of academic text. Actually, class, this is just an additional structures because we have already discussed the basic structures on our previous lesson. Now, let us have a review, or maybe what they call this, a short discussion about those basic structures. So we have the narration. When we say narration, from the word itself, you are narrating. So, for example, you are writing a narrative report, and that structure is a narration because you are telling the events, the sequence of events that happened on that specific phenomena or output or project. And we also have definition or defining. So in this kind of structure, you are just describing or defining a specific term. For example, your audiences doesn't know about COVID-19, and so therefore you're going to educate them or inform them or define what is COVID-19. Also, we have classifying. So in classifying, you're just categorizing things. When we say comparison and contrast, you're just letting your audience or your readers know what are the differences or similarities of those two things you are comparing. And then last, we also have the cause and effect. So when we say cause and effect, you also try to tell your readers what are the causes of this specific thing. For example, poverty. What are the causes of poverty and what are the effects of poverty? Okay, now class, before we proceed to identifying thesis statement, I just want to clarify the language use in academic writing. So class, when we say language use, it doesn't pertain or refer to whether you are going to use English, Filipino, Spanish, Japanese, whatever language. But when we say language use, it only tells us that there is an appropriate language to use based on your readers. So first, before writing, of course, you have to know what is your purpose. But aside from the purpose, you also have to know who to whom are you going to write this kind of text or this writing. So you have to know who are your audiences. Uh, so for example, you are uh, you are taking the course medicine, okay? So for example, you want to write an essay about the herbal plants or medicines here in the Philippines. And your audiences are the senior high school, or maybe your classmates, or specifically the STEM students in senior high school. So if you are writing with that kind of audiences, do you think it will be appropriate if you are going to use the jargons or the terms that you are using in your school or in your specific field, or maybe you are using the scientific terms for those um, herbal plants? So it is not appropriate for you to use those terms, especially if your readers are not yet professionals or not yet expert with that field, because it will hinder your message, or it will hinder the the information that you really want them to get. Okay? So, of course, you have to think of the appropriate language to use. And the language you should use for them is just for the layman's term or for the ordinary people's term in order for them to understand what you are trying to propose or tell them. Okay? Aside from language use, uh, you should also know what tone are you going to use. So class, there are two types of tone or tone in writing, okay? And the first one is what we call subjective. When we say subjective, it involves the writer or the author's biases. So specifically, when you are trying to persuade your audiences or your readers, so that is a subject, you are going to write in a subjective tone because you are telling your biases. And the second one is objective. When we say objective, you're just stating based on facts. Okay? So those are the two tones in writing. Now, class, let's proceed with identifying thesis statement. When we say thesis statement, okay, let's just read the definition. The sentence that captures your position on this main idea is what we call a thesis statement. Uh, Thesis statement is also defined as the summary or the sum up of your main idea. So maybe it is also the summary of your essay or of your whole academic text or writing. And it is only consists of 1 to 2 sentences. And it is also found by the end of your introduction. So let's go back to the nature of the academic writing. It says there that you should have a clear assumption because in the introduction or in the beginning of your text or of your writing, you should already state your thesis or your thesis statement. Now, class, there are three things that you have to consider in order for you to identify the writer's thesis statement or your thesis statement as a writer. So the first one is the claim. So what is the author telling you? What is his claim? What is his argument? Or if you are the author, what is your argument? Or what do you want uh, your readers to know? Or what do you want to tell your readers? Second one is the evidence. So how did the writer know this? How did the writer know this claim? Or why does he have this kind of claim? Or if you are the writer, how did you know this? What are your evidences? And then last, we have the significance. So why does this matter? Or why does this topic matters to you or matters to your readers? Will it impact them or will it affect them, their lives, personal lives, social lives, economic, politics, whatever? Okay, now class, I have an example of a good thesis statement. So I just searched this from Google, took this from Google, and the general subject here is the video game design. So the specific topic is the use of math in the creation of video games. So here is the thesis statement of that writer. It says there that understanding mathematical principle is important. So from there, he or the writer has already the claim. Okay? And he also already said there the importance. Okay? It is important for video game creators. Okay? Who use tangents and parametric equations to control movement and create realistic playing scenarios. So as what we can see there, he explained why this thing is important, or that is also his evidence or her evidence that it is important um, because of these reasons. Okay, so that is an example of thesis statement. Also, class, I'll be giving you an example on our group chat or maybe on our Google Classroom. And class, if you want to develop writing a good thesis statement, you could practice it or you could search for more videos or for more information about it. Okay? And if you have questions or clarifications, you may just send me a personal message, or you could also leave a message on our group chats, on our chat box, or in our Google Classroom. So that's all for today, class. Thank you for listening. I hope that you have learned a lot from this lesson. So see you on our next videos and our next lessons. Bye.